Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, proud, lame, certified beta male, simp and giant, whatever it is, no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, speaking at your service. This following episode contains graphic content that could be uncomfortable to some viewers. That could be like disheartening, not safe for work, that type of ordeal. It could offend some viewers in some way without any intent at all. It could be strong language. It could be basically strong graphic scenes, however it may be. There will be an E that's actually placed onto the top label up on the YouTube set. And it can basically require either views for either minimum 13 up, or in some cases, depending on YouTube's policy, it could be 18 up or however it may be. Please take notice before we get on with the presentation. Alright, viewer discretion advised. Now let's get back to it.
Ah, you cheater, you're cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles. Alright, this is your host, proud, lame, certified beta male, simp with no game whatsoever. The socially awkward nerd Christian Paul's in the house. Alright, so we do have a clip of a board certified licensed criminal defense attorney that is legally allowed, that is licensed to practice in the state of Minnesota by the name of Bruce Rivers Esquire. And we are actually going to break down his opinion on the whole ordeal when it comes to the judge's order of actually seizing certain assets of Andrew Tate up in Romania. Enough talk, let's get right into it.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Today we're reacting to the judge's order on Andrew Tate. Before we do that, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com. eSign.com is an excellent way to have documents signed remotely. You don't have to come into your office. You get Andrew Tate. I had one guy say, so sad that a lawyer is jealous of Andrew Tate. He'll never reach his level. I hope not. I don't want to be in a Romanian jail cell where 56 other guys are the same toilet that's in the middle of the fucking room.
Yeah, pooping all over the place.
I hope I don't reach his level. Some of the detractors have been saying that I take things out of context and, what color is your Bugatti? And whatever. And so I am going to kind of break down what the judge said. And I think I already did a thing about taking things out of context. But let's talk about what the judge focused on in determining the decision to keep him detained. First of all, Romania is a country that's part of the International Convention Against Sex Trafficking.
Ooh-wee.
So they're trying to standardize things across the globe because sex trafficking by its nature is borderless. In other words, if everybody has the same type of structure against sex trafficking, it should work as a kind of a global thing to prevent it. If there's a safe haven for sex traffickers, that's where they'll go. So that's what the idea is between that international convention. First, the judge references the definition of human trafficking and the protocol regarding prevention and repression and punishment. Human trafficking, especially of women and children, in addition to the United Nations Convention. The judge starts out by talking about the definition and where the law comes from. But then he starts talking about concrete danger for the public that they present. And even if the defendants are not known with criminal past, the charge represents a state of normality that cannot justify, in context of the present case, the release of the defendants at this procedural moment in relation to the high gravity of the alleged crime of human trafficking and the creation of a criminal group organized for which they are investigated. And then the other thing he talks about in the order is the judge talks about, we had that stuff that had happened in London. Well, the judge says even though that's not a crime, it cannot be ignored. So he's using that, and he fled to this jurisdiction, and he's also using the fact that he's talked in videos and flaunting flight. He talks about that in his order.
Arrogance.
England wants me in jail, I can fly on a Nigerian passport, or an American, or an English, or a Polish, or an Estonian. I have so many passports. You block them all?
Everything.
Now the issue with this, right? You can have all the passports all you want, but if you get caught and you're deemed a citizen up in that country, if you do like some serious crime in that country, they could withhold your passport for a while until you stand trial, until you go through the effects of the trial and whatever it may be. They could suspend your passport, they could suspend you from traveling, and if you're a citizen in other countries and they got extradition treaties, they can have you sent back basically to your home country, depending on what your original country is, so that you can stand trial over there, right? These folks do not play. Like, Andrew Tate thinks he can outrun government based on like what he's doing with his arrogance and ego. He has another thing coming, unfortunately.
He is doing is consistent. But here's even the kicker. Looking at private videos as part of the police file, from the following passages from the context of this content, there is no doubt a deep lack of respect for the legal norms and a total indifference to the social protected values that the defendant gives proof of.
Oh no, not a court in Romania. Nationally respected Romanian courts. Put me in jail.
Get me out of jail. The law says you're guilty. I said get me out of jail. Don't go see a lawyer to talk about the law. I have committed multiple felonies. How much does it cost to make this all go away?
But also the attitude of disregard towards women in general, which he perceives only as a mean of getting his content released. In other words, making money. The judge cannot agree with the support of the defense in the sense that the video contents presents only one character and cannot be taken into account since the defendant exhibits the same attitude in the relations with the injured persons and is evident from the content of the conversations that are in these criminal prosecution files. The defense had made an argument. You can't really look at what he's saying on those videos because that's just a character that he's playing. Well, the judge has also looked at some private files, and the judge says, I can't ignore it. You know, you look in some of the things, he shows you his 7 passports. I mean, who has 7 passports? And if you look at, we'll show you some video in a minute about
weapons,
the search. You look at the guns, you look at the passports, you look at all the other things that are on the table. He's ready to rock and roll. I mean, why does he need all this stuff? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he fled one jurisdiction, and he's worried about people coming after him. Cops in general. Regarding the need to prevent the commission of another crime, purpose mentioned in enumerated paragraph 202, blah, blah, blah. The judge notes the situation by which his conduct prior to committing the act is the subject of the case. The defendant proves the real risk of repeat criminal behavior. The judge is basically saying is, if you look at some of the recent statements put out by his camp, Andrew Tate has nothing but the utmost respect for law and authority. There's nothing but the most respect for the Romanian courts.
Oh no, not a court in Romania.
Of course they're going to say that now. But what did he flaunted it on his video. He absolutely flaunted it. Andrew Tate's videos that he made are completely biting him in the ass. When somebody tells you who they are,
believe them.
Believe them. When Andrew Tate tells you he's got 7 passports because he could go to Romania, I could go to Bulgaria, I could go to Sudan, wherever the fuck he says he's going to go. He's so full of shit. You know, and the thing that kills me, honestly, about this guy in general is the hubris. And he not only preys on these women, but he preys on these young guys with no self-esteem, and they just think he's the bee's knees. Oh, look, he's driving a Bugatti, you know, and he's doing this, he's doing that, and he just has money, hand over fist. Well, you can make money hand over fist, but if you have to look over your shoulder, that's called short money. It's absolutely short money. And so anybody out there who's paying $50 a month to Hustle University, which I don't think exists anymore,
Hustlers University 2.0 basically still exists today, and I think they have a Hustlers University 3.0. But in my opinion, those courses that they have up there, you could go through the same exact courses in like various other Google sites, or even go look in Google search, or even on YouTube, and you're going to go the same exact training that you would do for free without saving $50 literally monthly. All right. Some of the courses that I've actually witnessed that people doing were literally subpar, in my opinion. I would not suggest people actually partake in those types of ordeals of Andrew Tate here. I suggest against it.
Is someone that needs to look elsewhere for motivation and support. In that motivation that you're looking for, look at what he did. He started out being successful as a fighter. You don't make a lot of money as a professional kickboxer. He wound up with, when he,
unless you're in the UFC or in like extreme MMA company, unless you make billions of dollars over there, which is very hard to get in.
He got done with the fight game. He had 70 grand to his name. He blew 30 of it trying to gamble it to try to get a place in Thailand, and it was left with $40,000 left. He was going for the quick money. He was selling drugs for a short time.
But fighting wasn't paying the bills, sold drugs, whatever.
And then he does this webcam thing and didn't do it. I mean, the webcam business is not illegal by itself. But to do it the way he did it, and with the deception and the fraud that he engaged in, because that's his MO. That's his MO. He has to get the quick money because he didn't have the skill. Why, I want to say he didn't have the skill set to do it right, but he probably did. But just he got greedy, and why would you tie up all your money in 33 cars? As he said, I think they just seized another 4 vehicles. He's put himself in a very vulnerable position by engaging in criminal activity. When you break the law, you give the government a foray into your life, right? You just do, because you give the government the ability to then control your life. And who's controlling where he is and what he's doing. Had he done this the proper way, and I don't know what that means exactly because I'm not in the webcam business.
Right.
The guys that are looking at him as an idol, and there are a lot of you out there.
Yeah, basically, had he paid his models fairly, has he dug his research with the webcam businesses and see who actually runs the shows, had they make deals with litigation attorneys to see like what pay actually works for them, which is legal, which isn't legal, based on the country and the jurisdiction that he's in, he would not have been in the shithole right now.
There are a lot of you out there. I don't have, Bugatti money. But you know what? If I had to do what Andrew Tate did, I wouldn't want Bugatti money. Even if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't fucking buy a Bugatti. When you set up your program, whatever your program is, go to work, start your own business, whatever you're doing, you got to do it so that it isn't like Andrew. He's vulnerable himself.
He is.
Okay, let's look at what he did. His first victims were addicts, right? Drug addicts. Second victims, and he's always doing something in the back of people. The second victims were the ladies that he was keeping there. And I know some people said they were free to leave at any time. Bullshit. They wouldn't have a case.
There'd be no case of human trafficking. That was the case if he truly allowed him to leave and not resist him. He wouldn't have a case. He wouldn't even put himself in the vulnerable position at all.
If they weren't. You got 6 people who said they weren't. But then the third victim was you guys. You guys had signed up for Hustler University. You were hustled. I mean, you were online, and he was feeding what you needed to hear. And unfortunately,
what you wanted to
it was
hear.
BS. It was
feeding what you wanted to hear.
Absolutely BS. I know it's fashionable in some circles to be full of bravado and say, oh, my bitch is doing this or that, and have this
arrogance
persona. But you know what's even better than that is being revered for being a hard-working son of a bitch and providing for the people around you and having their admiration. That short circle of people. And there's nothing beats that. I have a family that sits around me, and I try to make sure every one of them is taken care of. And I do it through legitimate means. And, it wasn't easy for me to go to law school. When I went to law school, I had shitty grades coming out of college. I didn't think I'd get in. And when I got in, I thought they were going to put their hand on my shoulder and say, look, we made a mistake. But I worked my ass off, and I really liked law school, and I grinded it out. And it was like 7 years between my first year of college until the end of law school. And by doing that, guess what? I was able to set up my law practice, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and I have all the trappings of a good life. That is solid. That's where you need to be. So when you look at the decisions that Andrew Tate has made, he's made his bed.
Yep.
And his bed is right now with about 56 other guys in a single room with a toilet in the middle. The next phase for him will be to face the charges, and we'll follow this. So he isn't getting out. The judge has used his videos against him that were in the police file, rejected all the defense, and I wouldn't be shocked if all of a sudden he winds up with new lawyers, because that's the kind of guy that he is. Unless off camera he's really understanding how much trouble he's in. I heard this. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I heard he could be looking at up to 14 years. I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is he is looking at a boatload of time.
Serious.
He's looking at the better part of 10 years. And at the end of the day, just be good to the people around you. Work your ass off. Have a program that can't, you don't have to look behind you. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter.
All right, shout out to Mr. Rivers here. Well said. I couldn't fully explain it much any further. When you make yourself that vulnerable up in social media, like doing a bunch of nonsense, and you put yourself in a vulnerable position, however it may be, and you don't guard your image, you don't even guard your reputation, this is what can happen to you right there. You could get vulnerable, do some crazy charges, whether you did it or not, right? And again, with Kevin Samuels say, image is everything when it comes to action, when it comes to character. You know what I mean? And to Mr. Rivers here, I will be doing some reviews on certain ordeals on what the defense has said and what other folks up in the manager basically said, that, the voice that Andrew Tate has with the recording that came out through Vice, basically said it was like AI and all that stuff. I will be getting to these very, very shortly, and I would like to ask some certain questions basically in the videos to come to see if the defense presents his case, basically has certain evidence that they have actually presented when it comes to those unnamed women, which I will actually be discussing in future videos to come. So yes, I will actually discuss more on the defensive side of things when it comes to the Andrew Tate trial. I'm going to be following this thoroughly as well before I try to give a thorough final assessment, because again, what Andrew Tate's dealing with is just an accusation, only an accusation, not a conviction. All right. So with that, Christian Paul from the Nerd Chronicles literally signed out. Deuces, deuces, deuces. Good night.